Good morning, everyone. Our lesson for today is page 255, chapter 6, lesson 3, What are weathering and erosion? Hello to our lovely girls, grade 4 A and B. How are you out there? And to all our parents, our lovely mom and daddies, good morning to all of you. I hope you will enjoy this video. The lesson is about weathering and erosion. So let's start. Okay, when we are talking about weather and weathering, there are two different words here. Weather is the condition of the atmosphere. So, as the song says that, what's the weather? What's the weather? What's the weather for today? Is it sunny? Is it windy? That is a weather. That is a condition of the atmosphere. Okay, but that is not our topic for today. Our topic for today is breaking of rocks or landform. Yes, that is true. You heard it right. That rocks could break. So there are many ways how to break rocks. I know all of you knows that rocks is heavy, hard, and it is some of the rocks are big as boulders, but yes, it's true that rocks is breaking. So we will discuss it later. What are the agents or how the rocks are breaking? So let's proceed to the next slide. Okay, so this slide will tell us about Earth's surface. The Earth's surface is covered with landforms, and that landforms, we call it in science as a crust. The crust is the one covering all the Earth. It says here, I will read it for you girls. The outer surface of Earth is a layer of rock called the crust. The crust covers all the Earth in places such as the ocean, the crust, and under the water. So it doesn't mean that when you cannot see the rock, it doesn't mean that does not belong to the crust or layers of the earth, because even underwater, that is still covered by the rocks. What I mean, rocks is still under it, over the water. So we call it ocean bed. That rocky part in the ocean, in the beach, is called the ocean bed. When we go to the river, we also call that one as the river bed. Okay, so let's proceed to that one. A landform is a natural land feature on Earth's surface. So that is natural, meaning that is God given. God created that one. A mountain is one of the example of a landform. Landforms can be different in size. It could be big, it could be small. And then shape also, we also have different shapes. Some is flat, some is triangle in shape. So landform has different size and shapes. And then another type is plains and flat landform. It could be high and low also. And plateaus and others are flat landforms in high ground. So I will show you some picture later. Even here, girls, it says along the coast. Coast is a place near the sea. We call it as a coastline. Landforms such as peninsula extend into the water. So that is a landform that is extended to the water area. Valley and canyons, the Grand Canyon in United States is one of the example, is another example of landform. The desert is another example of landform. The valley is another example of landform. I believe in social you have learned these things already. The map will show us where to locate the landform and then the water. That is why map is very important to us. Some landforms take shapes quickly, like the desert, right? At the same time, some takes millions of years. Cave, mountains, plateau, it takes thousands or millions of years before it is forming. Okay, here in question number 1, it says here, describe what landforms are near where you live. For me, I am near Corniche. My house is near Corniche side. And when we are talking about Corniche, there is a, that is near the sea. In front of that one is a coast. So I can say that my house is near the coastline. So I can write here For you girls, it's up to you. If your house is near the coastline, you can write there, my place is near Corniche, wait, Corniche, and it's near in coastline. Okay, if you're living in Cobar or in Damam, there is also Corniche in Damam. Maybe you could also write that you are living in, or maybe you are living near the coastline. Or some places in Daharan, they are living in a platform land, or a flat land, sorry. Okay, so here you can write here, if you're living in Cobar or in Damam, you can write here that your place is near Corniche, and then it's near the coastlines because it's near, in the water area. Okay, so here the picture will show you girls that this is the earth, and then the center part of the earth is called the crust. This line shows you girls that this is how thick it is, miles away girls, to the crust, the landforms, the outer part of the earth here. The rocky part of the earth is very thick. Okay, so that is the rocky part of the earth. And some rocky part of the earth is covered with water, if you can see here. That is a water part. And then this green one is the landform, is another example of landform. Okay, island is another example of landform. Okay, let's proceed to the next slide. Here are the example of landforms. As I mentioned, mountains, canyon, waterfalls. The waterfalls, the water is not the example of landform, but the rocky part of waterfalls is the landform. The plain, the jungle itself is a landform, the canyon. Here in Saudi Arabia, we have here same like canyon. If you go to Riyadh, I don't know the name of the place, there are some mountainous area there that looks alike canyon in United States, but that is a canyon. Okay, it looks like this. An island is another example of landform. Hills, the ocean, not the ocean itself, but the ocean bed is a landform. The desert is another example. The volcano is another example of landform. Okay, so let's proceed to the next slide. Okay, weathering. This is what I'm referring a while ago. That weathering, I will read it for you, girls. Rocks in earth crust are slowly broken into smaller pieces into a process called weathering. So that is the process, that is the name of the process, weathering. There are two types of weathering. There are two types how to break the rocks. It could be in chemical or in physical. Before I will discuss these things to you girls, I want to show you some short video so that you can understand, because this word here, this paragraph here, is not too easy for your level, but the video will help to explain it for you. And then afterwards, I could also explain. Okay, let's watch first the video.
Weathering.
This rock is smaller, but it looks like the same type of rock as this mountain.
Weathering happens over time. It's a process. Weathering can break large rocks into small rocks. Weathering breaks smaller rocks down further into soil, sand, or even tiny particles called sediment. But what causes weathering? Water, ice, wind, plants, heating and cooling. All of these things affect the earth and play a part in breaking rocks down into smaller pieces. They are the causes or agents of weathering. Water. Some of these agents can cause change physically. That is, just by the force of contacting the rock. Water, in all its forms, is the most powerful agent. The physical force of water and ice can break rocks and wear away their surfaces. When water freezes in cracks in rocks, it expands. It gets bigger. The force of expanding water is so great it can actually split rock apart. You might have discovered this yourself if you've ever frozen a water bottle to take to school. That bottle is full of water, all the way to the top. It's standing nicely in the freezer. You think, I can put it on my desk tomorrow and let it melt. I'll have cold water all day long. The next morning, though, what's happened? The bottle won't stand up. The frozen water has gotten bigger. It has expanded and pushed out the bottom of the bottle. It's no longer flat. The freezing action of water can expand the cracks in rocks and break them up. The flowing action of water can weather rock too. It slowly wears the surface of rocks away. This stream bottom has been worn smooth. And when water flows over rocks, it not only causes a physical change, it can cause a change inside the rock, to the different materials that make up the rock. This is called a chemical change. Let's see what water with a little vinegar, a weak acid from plants, can do to this soft rock called soapstone. After just a few minutes, you can begin to see particles in the water. Let's wait just a little longer. Now look, parts of this soft rock have dissolved. Why did some of the rock wash away here and some of it stay there? Water caused a chemical change. It was able to dissolve some of the material in the rock, while other parts did not dissolve. We saw how water can get into cracks in rocks, freeze, expand, and break rocks down. The same thing can happen with plants. Plants can grow in cracks in rocks. As the plant grows, the roots of the plant grow too, making the crack bigger and bigger until wind. This landform in Utah may have been smooth at one time. Desert winds carrying sand have weathered this surface. These workmen are getting ready to paint this truck. They're using this machine that blows air and sand to blast away the old paint. It's called a sandblaster. Look what sand and wind can do to a soft surface like wood in just a few minutes. Just like that sandblaster, over time, wind can weather away the surface of landforms, changing the way they look. Temperature. The wind isn't blowing on this rock in the sun, but this rock is still weathering. It's getting warmer now, and some of the materials in the rock are expanding quickly with the heat. Other materials in the same rock are expanding slowly. When the sun goes down, they'll contract or get smaller at different speeds too. This expansion and contraction is all smaller than we can see with our own eyes, but over time, it is enough to slowly break the rock down. So temperature changes can also cause weathering.
But after weathering breaks up rock, what happens to it?
Okay, so that is our video about weathering. In the video, okay, the video discuss about the agents of weathering. When we are talking about agents of weathering, okay, wait for a while, we'll just change this one to bright color. When we are discussing about agents of weathering, we are talking about what are the events or what are the things that could break rocks. Agents of weathering. Okay, the first thing that the video mentioned is the water. That is the first agent of weathering. Maybe you might not believe that water could break rock, but yes, it's true, but it is not happening in one day or overnight process. It is happening 1,000 years. Especially salty water, it could break rocks. In rain also could break rocks. But as I mentioned you, it is not happening overnight or one day, 1 week. It is happening thousands of years. You can observe it in the landforms that you can see in the coastline, or you could also see some rocky formation in the beach, along the beach. So over the years it changes. So maybe once you visit that place 10 years or 20 years ago, that will be different. The size, the formation will be different. It is because of the water, especially salty water, because water and salt, that is a solution already, that causes some changes in the formation of or structure of the rocks. So that is number one. Another that was mentioned is plants. Plants could break rocks also, especially for those tree or plants that are having big and deep-seated roots. So when the roots started to grow and become big, it started to go inside the bodies of rocks. And then when that thing happened, it started to break. Again, it doesn't happen overnight or it doesn't happen 1 week. It happens over time, maybe a couple of years, another, a couple of months. I have this story. I have a backyard in my country. My grandpa planted a mango tree at the backyard. And then after a couple of years, 2 to 3 years, the mango started to grow. My backyard is cemented. So my grandpa just dig a little bit of part there to plant the mango tree. So what happened after a couple of years, the rocks surrounded by the mango tree started to break. And then, I am wondering why this thing happens. And then couple of years, after 6 to 10 years, when I go back to my home or when I go back to my home place, I just recognize that the crack in the rock started to grow bigger. And then that is one of the proof that roots of the plants, especially the tree, okay, the big tree, could break rocks. Okay, so another agent is plants. Next is wind. Here in Saudi, it's very obvious. In the desert, you can see that sand dunes, okay, that is just like a valley of sand. It's changing its form and shapes over time, especially when we have strong winds or sandstorm in the area. So that is one proof that wind could change the landforms. For the mountains itself, maybe it will not happen couple of years. It happened thousands of years. Wind could change the shape of landforms. Another is temperature. Temperature could break rock. What is the example of this one? If you observe why some roads is cracked, why some road is so bumpy compared to other roads, it is because of weathering. Because heat, especially in the Middle East, when summer is, when we are in the middle of summer, what I mean, the temperature is hot. So that could break the rocks also. The road could break, and then that road is made up of rocks. So it is because of the temperature. Yes, there is also the factor of there are many trucks, cars passing through it, but it is also because of the heat. Okay, so here we have four agents of weathering. So these four events or four things could break the rocks. We call it agent in science, okay? That word is called agents of weathering. Okay, I hope you understand agents of weathering. Let's go back here. Okay, so here it says chemical weathering. During the chemical weathering, chemicals cause rocks to change into different materials and break down. For example, rainwater mixes with carbon dioxide in the air is to form a weak acid. Rain combined with carbon dioxide. Those carbon dioxide that human and animal exhale goes in the atmosphere, and then when that thing mixes with the rainwater, it becomes an acid, and then that acid, when it pours down in the land, it could break slowly by slowly the rock. So that is a chemical weathering. Another, animal and plants gives off chemical that can cause weathering. Sometimes the activities of people also add chemicals to the environment, especially for those doing the mining, for the companies or businesses that mine golds, uh, other minerals, silver and diamonds. Sometimes they apply some chemicals. They bomb the area to open the cave, to open the ground, so that they can mine golds and diamonds. Okay, but for some people, also for some companies, they are throwing their waste, chemical waste in the land, and then that is another example of chemical weathering. Okay, water and warm temperature also are important for the chemical weathering. Okay, as I mentioned a while ago, warmer areas or areas with a lot of rain have more chemical weathering than drier or colder area. Okay, I mentioned that one a while ago. Okay, let's go to this. Physical weathering. In physical weathering, rocks are broken into smaller pieces of the same kind of rocks. Water is one causes of physical weathering. So, when it's raining without the mixing of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere, that is just a physical weathering. Okay, so rain could break the rocks, water from the waterfalls, okay, it could also break the formation of the rocks. If you observe here it says in number 2, analyze. Circle the evidence of weathering in the picture. So this circle part, okay, you can circle it, girls. That is one of the proof or evidence that rock is breaking in what because of the water. Here, actually, this is a beach side. It's a coastline. So that one causes the breakage of rock, salty water. Okay, here, ice can also cause the breaking of rock? Remember, temperature could break the rock. If hot temperature breaks the rock, same also with the cold temperature. Why does it happening? Okay, when you freeze the water, the molecules of the water expands. Okay, so when that thing happen, it breaks the rock. Especially when, in the freezing cold country, like in Arctic region, near the Arctic region, okay, you can see it. Example is this one. Okay, so this is one of the picture I took in Google. So it shows here that the rock started to break. It's because of the freezing temperature, not cold, freezing temperature. Okay, so that is an example of rocks breaking in cold weather. So here on another example, plants could break rocks. If you observe here, okay, plants are start to grow here, and then the break started to form here also. Same also with this part. Okay. And next topic is erosion. What is erosion? I will read it for you, girls. You know that rainfall affects the kinds of living things found in the area. Do you also know that rainfall can shape the landform by washing away soil and carrying it to a new place? Water, gravity, wind, and ice can all move bits of weathered rock. Weathered meaning the broken rock. The process of carrying away weathered bits of rock is called erosion. If weathering could break the rocks, erosion is the process of taking it away from its place. Remember that weathering could break a big rock. It could break until to tiny pieces. In the video, it shows that the boulder of rock could be the tiny rock as the sand. The sand it's from the rock also. So when the rock is break, it could be carried away by the water, gravity, wind, and ice. And then that process is called erosion. I will repeat, erosion is the process of carrying or taking it away from its place. Because it is already small, that's why it is eroded. Here, moving water erodes or carries away materials from the land. As water moves faster, it can carry along heavier pieces of rock. Okay, if the water current is so strong, it could carry bigger pieces of rock, like in the waterfalls or fast running current of water in the river. It could carry rock also. So maybe once you pick a stone in the beach side, you could imagine that rock is not originally placed there, because that rock maybe it is under the sea, or maybe from the other ocean, another continent, and then it has just placed in your area, because it could be eroded into other area or other place. So that is erosion. I will not explain this more because there are some picture that is more interesting rather than this paragraph. Okay, so always remember that we need to focus here the highlighted part, the meaning of erosion. I will repeat once again. Erosion is the process of carrying it away, or the process of carrying break rock. Okay, for your better understanding. And what could carry the break rock? It could be water. It could be water, gravity, wind, and ice. Okay, now next, look at this area. Okay, look at this area. It says here in question number 4, draw conclusions. What does a muddy river tell you about erosion? Okay, this is an example of muddy river. Okay, possible answer: the muddy water is carrying eroded rock and soil from upstream. So from this area, okay, it's a river. Another part of river is here. So the soil, okay, or the eroded rock could pass through this area, Wait for a while. I will use a, okay, could pass this through area, from this area going to this area. It is because of the water. The movement of water could move the rocks. So as I mentioned, if you pick a pieces of rock, don't tell it that this is the original place where that rock is made. No, rock could be carried away, even as far as the water it can go. So it could transfer the rock in different places. So they don't think that they could travel, but water, wind, ice is the one carrying the rocks away. And then don't tell me that rock is just a big it's just like a big boulder or piece of rock. No, rock could be as tiny as sand or particles or dust. Okay, so that dust, imagine maybe the dust that you holding right now. Example, when you clean the floor and then you see the dust, don't think that that dust is just from Saudi Arabia. Maybe that thing or that dust is from Egypt or from Jordan, because wind could carry dust. Okay, let's proceed to the next. Deposition. Okay, if weathering is the breaking of rock and erosion is the carrying over of break rock, deposition is this one. I know this is a long paragraph, but I will make it short for you. It says here, deposition is the laying down of pieces of rock. So after the rock is broken, it is carried away by erosion, and then it is layered by deposition. I have here some picture for your easy understanding. Okay, I draw some illustration here so that you can understand. Okay, so this is a big boulders of rock, and rain could break it, water could break it, right? The meaning of weathering is a breaking down of rock. After it was broke, tiny pieces of rock could be eroded. Okay? Erosion is the moving of rock. So from big, it becomes small, and then it is eroding in the this part. It is eroding in this part. And when that tiny pieces of rock goes down, it could be layered. It could be layered in the bodies of water, or it could be layered in the ground also. That is the way. But I'll tell you, this is not happening one day. It happens thousands or millions of years. The layering of rock is not happening in one day. So it starts first in breaking of rocks, moving of rocks, that is erosion, and then it is layered in the water or in the ground, that is the deposition. Okay, so let's go to our final page. Okay, I answered it already for the benefits of everyone because we don't have our actual class. Okay, so this is a possible answer. You could also answer it on your own grade 4. Number 7, explain, describe how a canyon form. Okay, what is a canyon? For those who didn't know what is a canyon, I will show it for you. Okay, so this is a canyon. Okay, this canyon, I will repeat, this is not happening. Okay, the formation of canyon is not happening in one day. Okay, let's see canyon in Middle East or in Saudi Arabia so that you will be familiar with our place because we are living in Saudi Arabia right now. So this is the canyon in Saudi Arabia. Okay, here I visited one place in Al-Hassa. I forgot the name of the place, but that is a canyon. This is in Al-Hassa. Okay, this is an example of canyon. Okay, so this place. Okay, for you who wants to go there, because we still have vacation. This place in Riyadh. Okay, the Saudi Commission of Tourism and National Heritage will make landmark announcement on Friday about the launch of new tourism strategy with opening of Kingdom Horizon Tourism. Okay, let's see. Okay, the name of the place, I am looking in the news. I'm checking in the news. What is this place? Um, doesn't say here, but I hope you can just search Google. Maybe you know better than me. And okay, but this is in Riyadh. But I visited one place in Al Hassa. I forgot the name of the place because it's in Arabic. Please pardon me about that. Okay, so let's go back here. Describe how canyon forms. Okay, it says here it forms slowly over many years by erosion from the moving of water. So, as I mentioned, water could move away rocks. And number 8, think about what you read in this lesson. Explain how Earth's surface changes slowly. It changes slowly during weathering, erosion, and deposition. These three could change. Weathering, erosion, and deposition could change the shape of the land. Okay, so that is the end of our lesson grade for A and B. I hope you learned something today. If you have some question, you can send it privately in WhatsApp or in Classera. In our next lesson, please prepare your worksheet or your workbook. We will answer the unanswered pages there. I know some of the pages is not answered. It is because of the class suspension. Okay, but don't worry, we will catch up. Okay, thank you for today for listening. If you have some question, again, you can send it in WhatsApp privately. Thank you, dear moms and daddies, for listening also. Let's continue to help our kids to learn, even though we are not in the school. So learning happen not only in school. Okay, thank you for the opportunity to record this video. If you want also to record your video, this is Camcord. The name of the application is Camcord. You can also download. Thank you. Have a nice day, everyone.